Welcome back to Novel Writing 101, the 21-week course where I teach you how to write the first draft of your novel. Now today I'm going to give you some advice on how to find your motivation if you've fallen off. Let's get into it. It is week 16 of our 21-week course and week 12 of section B, Writing and Execution. We only have 5 weeks left of the course, you guys, and I know at this part of the first draft stage, you may start to get a little overwhelmed, a little bored, or just lose your motivation entirely, which is why today I'm going to give you my advice for pushing through that ick. During the writing process, willpower and motivation go hand in hand. You need willpower to show up for yourself every day or every week and keep writing, and you need motivation to actually give you something good to write and be inspired to do so. So the question is, how do you find your motivation if you've lost it throughout this first draft process? We're going to dive into the easy solutions first. You can find motivation by revisiting the things that brought you inspiration to begin with. Things like your outline. Maybe there's a certain scene that inspired you for this whole idea. Maybe you built a playlist that has music that just inspires you and pushes you to create. Or maybe you have a mood board that really sets the tone for your story. Use these things to spark your motivation and give yourself the energy and the excitement to start writing again. The next thing you can do is look how far you've come. I want you to look at either how many words you've written or how many chapters you've written and compare it to what your overall goal was in the first place. Say you're on chapter 17 and you have 24 chapters outlined in your story. That's really good progress. You may only have a handful of chapters left to write at this point, so use that as motivation to push through this final stretch. But don't just focus on how much you have left and how little that might be at this point, but also how much you've done up to this point. If you've written 16, 17 chapters, that's a lot. That's really great progress. And if you're looking at word count, maybe you have 30,000, 50,000, 70,000 words at this point, and that is a big deal, you guys. Use my little trick I shared in our planning and prep phase to find out how many pages you've actually written. So divide your word count by about 265-ish, give or take, and that'll give you a general idea of how many pages your word count actually accumulates to. You may have 200, 300 pages at this point, so I don't want you to get too hard on yourself on how much you have left if it's a little bigger than you anticipated. Use your progress as motivation. You've done a lot so far, so you should celebrate that and let it push you forward to the finish line. The last thing you can do to regain your motivation is think of why you started writing this book in the first place. What does this story mean to you, and what does it mean to tell it? What does writing a book mean to you? Is this your lifelong dream? Is this the next phase in the series that you're writing? Why is this important to you? I want you to dig deep, ask yourself these questions, and find out why you're writing this book to begin with and why finishing it is so important to you. And I guarantee you that's going to be the biggest motivator of all. So there you have it, my tips for finding motivation and pushing through the ick. At the end of the day, remember that you've started this process, you've come this far, and it would be a disservice to yourself to give up at this point. I want you to keep writing, find your motivation again, and get to the finish line so you can finish this first draft. Next week, we have an accountability check, so be ready for that, and maybe that's your motivation, and you need some external deadlines to really get you going again. Until then, your homework is just to write, so happy writing, and I'll see you next time.